So welcome. I'm Jill Rockbeisel, the chair of the department, for those of you that might not know me. I want to welcome everyone here, all faculty, staff, trainees, members of our leadership team in the hospital, and on campus. I also want to welcome everybody online. Right now we have 78 people online that have joined us for Grand Rounds. So, or not Grand Rounds, but our State of the Department. So I really appreciate you all being here. I have a couple announcements to start with. Okay, this thing doesn't want to move. Let's go. There we go. There we go. So a couple of announcements just to get started. Just some IT announcements, because there's deadlines coming up that everyone in the department that has a computer, no matter what letters you have after your name or what program you're in, if you have a Department of Psychiatry computer and a laptop that's not updated, it will be retired after October 1st. So apparently the IT team has been trying to get people with laptops to respond, to bring them in, because they need to be updated and connected so that they're automatically updated. There's a lot out there. I think Dave told me the last time I talked to him, there was about 125 laptops out there not updated. They're not going to work after October 1. So please contact the IT team, Dave Flex, and get that taken care of. If you are no longer using that laptop or don't know where that laptop is, could you also notify Dave Flex? Also, we will be going to Windows 11. It will be mandatory in a year. And the IT team, Dave Flex and his team, is looking for 50 volunteers to go up now so that they can sort of really get accustomed to having it up and operating. So if you are interested in going up a year early, could you please let Dave know? You should have got an email, but if you could let Dave know. And then the other final thing that the IT team wants you all to know is, please do not turn your computers off at night, for the weekend, even for vacations. Leave your computers on at all times. Otherwise, they will not be getting updated. So that's really important. And apparently there's some offices, even if you are working remote and you're leaving and won't be back for a week, you leave your computer on. So that will help the IT team. The other thing I just wanted everyone to be aware of, this is a great opportunity. So UMMC, our medical center, and UMB, the school, have partnered now for 3 years in a row with the Innovation Challenge. And this is an opportunity to apply for, there'll be 3 awards for $25,000 and 3 awards for $125,000. And the intention to apply needs to be submitted by September 15th. And there is a website that you can go on the intranet and find it. You can partner. So like if you're an MPRC and you're interested in partnering with someone downtown to do an innovation project, you absolutely can. You can partner with anybody. It's called The Next Big Idea, and these ideas are meant to change healthcare using smart, innovative solutions to current problems, using UMMC as the testing ground to shape the future of medicine. This competition builds off our UMMC values of excellence and innovation, welcoming all of you to submit ideas for improved solutions and novel practices that advance healthcare outcomes for our patients, families, or team members located on the downtown or midtown campuses. So again, if somebody in CL wanted to do a project, wanted to measure outcomes, but needed help with that, they could grab somebody from DPSR or wherever, partner together and do a project and apply for the funding. So you will get a copy of all these slides and you will be able to see there's the link there, but you can also find it on the intranet. Okay, I think that's all my announcements. So before we go into the agenda and get rolling, a brief introduction is simply that I'm not reading every slide. There's lots of information on all these slides. We're a huge department, and quite frankly, I was fairly anxious trying to put together a presentation that represented everything we do and represents everybody fairly. And it's really hard to do. We're just so big. So you will get, again, all of these slides and you'll be able to look at more detail. They will also be posted on our website, so you can access them anytime. I would ask that you hold questions till the end. I'm going to roll through these slides. I can talk pretty fast, and then hold your questions for the end. Also, we have a faculty meeting in November, so if you think of things after, which I hope you do, please bring questions to that as well. The idea for today is to leave with an understanding of our accomplishments, our goals, and our focus. And they will be linked to FPI, the School of Medicine, and the hospital. So that is the idea of this presentation. I just ask you to listen for common interests and opportunities to work with each other or with people outside of us. So that's kind of where we're headed here. So this is a quick agenda. It looks almost the same every year. We go over new people, a brief financial update, our academic overview, highlights of each division, and we got a lot of them. So I'm gonna go fast. I'll give you a brief update on the FY. How'd we do with the FY23 goals, and then where are we gonna go in FY24? So I want to welcome new staff. And as you can see, we have a lot of new staff. The pandemic brought with it staffing challenges for every industry and every nook and cranny of the country. It didn't leave us untouched. But that said, we have some phenomenal new faculty that have joined our team. And we all know that the new staff with the faculty, and we know that as we work together, this is what makes us successful. So I just want to welcome everyone. Many divisions had new folks join them. We also have 7 new faculty that have joined us. We have new faculty in the child division, adult, addiction, and community psychiatry and MPRC. So what I would ask is, as you rotate around, look for the new folks in the divisions that they live, introduce yourself, and see if you have anything in common. So those are our new faculty, and I'll leave it up to you to go through those slides. I do want to highlight our promotions this year. Seth Ahmed, who spends a lot of his time in IGS, was tenured this year as an associate professor. He's really very prolific powerhouse in IGS. Jill Bodenkamp was promoted to clinical associate professor. And then we have 4 faculty that were promoted to assistant professor, Doctors Kyle Brown, Leon Brown, Stephanie Hare, and Sarah Van Remen. So I want to congratulate all of you for your promotions. I also want to say that we have a massive department and we have more people ready for promotion. It is a lot of work to get everything together to get promoted, but it is very worth it. And if you start early, it's not too painful. If you wait till it's too late, it's pretty painful. Take my word for it. So we have a number of people that are going to be going up this year. I know we have a lot of people that are ready for associate professor. I ask every division director to take a look at all your faculty CVs and let's get people promoted. For a long time, we sort of have just stayed at, we have huge numbers of assistant professors and not very many full professors when you look at the numbers. So I really like to see us push that up. Just a quick 1 slide or 2 slides on financial overview. You know, this year, all the departments closed out and there were 6 big departments in major trouble, red. We're not one of them, and we haven't been for a long time. And I always contribute contribute that to our former chair, Dr. Tony Lehman, who's sitting here today. Tony, go like this for me, please. There we go. Yeah, we were in the red when Tony took charge. And he like whipped us all into shape. He had some good strategies, made some really solid decisions about how to run practices, how to bring people on board. We got ourselves out, and we've been able to continue to operate in the black ever since. So that's been a long time. There's a downside to that. The dean sees us as being very successful, and so he says, "Jill, you got to make more money." And I'm like, yes, sir. So we have a $70 million operating budget. That budget has grown. I think when I first took the chair position, it was 52. We're now up to $70 million. It was really nice. We finished FY23, as you can see, and I guess I could use my little arrow here, with a 3% margin. The expectation is 2.5. We budgeted for 2.5, and you can see that we came in higher. We've increased our revenue. We've increased grants and contracts. And here you can see our IDX cash collection. So this is your fee for service through the PA. And one thing I want to point out, if anyone happens to notice, is the projection. So the far right bar in each graph is our FY24 budget. And our collection budget looks really slow. And I actually, right before this meeting, said to David Adamshan, "What's this about? We can't be this low." I helped set this budget, by the way, 6 months ago almost. When we set the budget, we had many closed beds. We had such shortage with nursing on our inpatient units. We couldn't staff all the beds. Those kinds of things greatly impact our PA revenue. And so at that time, we thought, we better be we tend to be conservative, better to be conservative and beat your budget than be overzealous and not meet it. But I think we were, well, looking at it now, the last quarter of our FY23 year, we did well. A lot of things came in that we were waiting for, and so that will be bigger. I expect that to be higher. If you look at our grants and contracts, again, we have grown. FY23 actual is $39 million, and if you can see that the FY24 budget is flat, and the reason it's flat is simply because we have a lot of movement in our department right now. And we had a couple of people, Elliot Hong, Peter Kochinoff, who have moved on to Texas. Took a little bit of grants with them, not an exorbitant amount. We're confident we can probably stay flat, but that's why you don't see growth. Otherwise, we've been growing every year. But you guys can all prove me wrong. You're welcome to do that. Over here, you can see by division, grants and contracts. So what do I mean by grants and contracts? There's research grants, and then there's service contracts. And many of the clinical divisions, like the child division, $11 million, that's predominantly service contracts. While there is some research, data collection, writing papers reported out of that, they're not formalized research grants per se, all of them. Whereas MPRC has $10.8 million, and those are predominantly your research grants, I guess with the exception, Bob, of some MEIP, some first episode grant from the state. But otherwise, it's all research. So it varies by division, but we get credit. I mean, it all gets tallied up and we look really good. You can see down below our NIH, we have 28 federal funds, federal grants, etc. You can see it there. We did drop in the Blue Ridge rating, which is strictly looks at NIH funding. And we were 18, so we were in the top 20. We're currently 24. So we've just had some shuffling around. So hopefully we'll be able to recover some of that over the next couple of years. But great work, even through the pandemic. Writing continued, and grants continued. Diversity, equity, inclusion. For those of you that were able to attend our year in review, which we always do in July for the entire department on where we are in diversity, equity, and inclusion, you would have heard us, but I have one slide here just to highlight some of the major things that we accomplished this year. We're very active, and I might add, under the leadership of Anit Forrester, we're ahead of every other department on campus, and we're probably ahead of all the schools predominantly. But we increased our DEI champion roles and visibility. We have gender neutral bathroom signage just about everywhere we could. We have CEUs for DEI grand rounds, and we're trying to expand that to everyone, not just MDs, or it's PhDs, social work counselors, everybody. We have now implemented, it took a lot of training and standing up. We're conducting DEI focused exit interviews, which, by the way, those exit interviews are really valuable. And there's, I think, like 12 general questions, you know, why did you decide to leave? What was your job what you thought it was going to be? Is there anything we could have done to retain you? These are really important questions because it helps us learn what we're doing well, maybe what we need to rethink for retention. But they're really helpful, and we have a whole team of interviewers underway, and it's voluntary. It's totally voluntary, and it's staff or faculty, and it doesn't matter where your paycheck comes from. And then we developed equity narratives from all the divisions. So very productive year. Research highlights, I just can't help but highlight again that our research day was absolutely, on April 20th, was absolutely one of the most successful research days we had under the leadership and directorship of Dr. Gloria Vines. Gloria, you're here, right? Where are you? There you are, over there. Yeah, Gloria did a Herculean job, and she's already got next year's on the calendar. That's right. Well, all right, we'll do that. You can see that in the picture, there's Dean Gladwin. I got him on our calendar. We got to get him on the calendar again, or like 6 months before. He was so blown away at the diversity and variety of students and junior faculty, junior staff that did posters. We had 80 posters, and he described it as a spectacular event, and indeed it was. So great job, Gloria and whole team. Our academic overview, we had 267 journal articles, and you can see here that, you know, we've grown every year. I consider this kind of flat. There's just 9 publication difference. So we've done super well. 254 presentations, this posters isn't right because we had 80. Outside of research day. Got it. And then the media is 23 here. And actually, just before this, I went back and looked. Gambling alone had 48 media presentations. So this isn't correct. I apologize, but I admit all the errors that we got here. Yeah, our media is much higher than that. That and Sharon Hoover, I think, lives in front of either a microphone, a television, something. She's doing media events many times a month. So I don't know that we captured all that either. I depend on division directors to give me the information to put in the slides. So we'll try to be more specific about what we're looking for, but super productive, very prolific department. Now what I'm going to do is go through each division, but it's going to be really thumbnail and fast. And I don't mean to offend anybody or leave anybody out or not highlight anybody, but I'm going to try to do it fast because we have a lot of divisions. So under the leadership of Deanna Kelly, who is nothing short of an absolute Herculean, amazing leader. She's just done, Dee, where I know you came in. There you are, Dee. She's done amazing things. She just stepped in and really started trying to work with the entire center and make some major changes. So there's their stats. I'm not going to go over them, but you can see the stats for MPRC. What I was really amazed at was the amount of community outreach. And I don't know that people appreciate what MPRC does in the community. Can you guys see? Because you can move to the middle if you want. Okay. So Dee alone works with NAMI. Well, not alone. You have teams that work with you. I realize that, but you spearhead it. And 4 different outside fundraisers, and they raised $15,000 for NAMI, and that's like really amazing. You do a great job. Sonia Bansal, Dr. Bansal, she works with, World Women in Neuroscience. She works with School of Medicine's PRISM and Scholars, and she was a mentor at the annual Biomedical Research Conference for minoritized scientists. So great outreach work. Stephanie Hare, she works in the STEM club with after school girls, and she ran the Touch a Brain, which is for little kids. I think it's like 3rd grade to 5th grade or something like that. They're younger kids, but great stuff. So lots of community outreach. We have 3 big highlights with MPRC. Dee Kelly was in the top 100 women in Maryland this year. Jim Gold assumed the editorship for Schizophrenia Bulletin. Jim, right here. And for those of you that don't know, I think the Schiz Bulletin, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, because you're the experts over there, is the most prestigious journal. What was that? Schizophrenia journal. Thank you, Jim. Maybe you want to come up here and finish this. And then, of course, the biggest award here is Dr. Will Carpenter. Will, you're here. Will, you're up back. There you go. Dr. Will Carpenter has received the Distinguished Professor at UMB. This is the highest rank honor that you can earn here, and Will has been absolutely magnificent in our department. Essentially the founder of MPRC. You have spearheaded so many things, and MPRC is not nationally, internationally renowned for the work that they do, and it amazes me, Will, that you still are just incredibly involved, although you did hand over to Jim Gold the Schizophrenia Bulletin, so that was great. So congratulations, Will. Okay, again, this is a thumbnail. Dee sent me like a 3-page of every project, not every project, but most projects. I thought I can't do this to you guys. So they've got, what I want to do is give you the focuses of the division research so that if you have an idea that matches, you know where to go to find partnership. They do translational neuroscience with canurenic acid, sleep as a mediator, adolescent white matter in miniature pigs. I love that one. Cognitive neuroscience with motivation, looking at motivation, anhedonia, auditory hallucinations, TMS, decision-making in schizophrenia, lots and lots of cognitive stuff. Computational data science, looking at AI and ML, computational models, and prioritizing mental health needs in social media. So lots of data science, and then clinical trials and treatment, clozapine, prebiotics, ketogenic and gluten-free diets in schizophrenia, and the minocycline for alcohol use disorder. So that does not cover it all, but it gives you an idea of the breadth of what's going on in MPRC. And if you want to know more detail, or you want to know who at MPRC to talk to about any of these general categories, call Dee and she'll tell you who to talk to. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at DPSR, the Division of Psych Services Research. I'm sorry, I went too fast there. Under the leadership of Dr. Melanie Bennett, who's also here. Melanie, where are you? Oh, there you are. There you go. There's their stats. What's really, I mean, they do a lot of very impressive things. Melanie and her team are everywhere, in every division, really working hard because they do services research, so they go to where the services are being delivered. But when you look at this, you can see the work they do with trainees is really impressive. They have undergraduate to postdoctoral fellows. They mentor 6 research staff from multiple divisions who also did posters. So they don't just stick in their own division. They truly go outside their division. And what I really liked I like it all, but what I really liked was the 7 publications with early career faculty with whom they are mentoring. So you're mentoring, you're also helping them learn, and you're writing with them. So, I just think that's a great strategy. And one of my real focuses is as senior faculty, senior leaders, senior PIs, we have a responsibility for our junior people's success. And if they're not being successful, then we should always say, what can we do? What more can we do? Great accomplishments, and I put this up and then realized I didn't do this for every division, but Peter Fallon got his K-23, Alicia Luckstead an R-34, Howard Goldman an R-01. I think other than Will, I think Howard's the longest faculty member we have, and he's still writing R-01s. And then Richard Goldberg and Alicia Luckstead led a VA-funded evaluation of 30 VA sites in a program of women's veteran network. So, again, great work. Their focus moving forward, they want funding for trauma treatment, early episode psychosis, and they want to collaborate with other divisions on research and training projects. So that's what they do. They are everywhere. And I always say, if you need help with something, go to Melanie, because she'll figure out, if she can't help you, she'll figure out who can. She's really a fantastic resource. Melanie and her whole team, I might add. Sorry, Melanie, I'm giving you more work to do. Okay, let's look at the MSTF Translational Lab run by Todd Gold. There's their stats for faculty and growing, because one of our goals is to increase the size of that research engine there. Sarah Clark received a Young Investigator Award, and Dr. Abigail Postal is a T32 awardee. Sarah, you're here, right? I know I saw you. There you go. Congratulations. And is Abigail here? No, okay. Advancing science, a lot of teaching for this small group of faculty. So both Sarah and Majed, and Majed is here as well. There you are. They both co-direct GPILS courses, which is a lot of work for graduate students. So they're both very involved in that. And they also do community outreach, as you can see here. So great work by that group. There's a funny story about this slide. Their research goals, extramural grant support. And if you notice, there's like a football, a basketball, and a baseball there. This is one of those PowerPoint design things, and it saw extramural, so they put up balls. But you know what? I was going to change it, and I decided, no, I'm not going to change it, because writing grants and getting money is like playing a game. You gotta know what to write, when to write it, where to pitch it. So I figured I'd leave them there. They're also focused on hiring new basic science tenure track faculty and a clinical researcher focused on depression. And Dr. Gould has agreed to chair our search committee for a depression clinical researcher. So we're getting that underway in September. Office of Education under Dr. Mark Ehrenreich, and Mark is here because I saw you walk in the door. There you are, Mark, thank you. So on the left of your slide is the composition of all of our fellowships and training, adult training program. And again, where'd the picture go? Oh, wait a minute. There's a picture and it disappeared. I had this gorgeous picture of
graduation.
Yeah, of the graduation. I'm sorry, something happened to it. Anyway, great resident pass rate as always. Also did a great job on the resident survey that we get that rates how we do. 2 faculty and residents, 17 manuscripts and 12 presentations, which is great. Great recruitment and a lot of DEI work in that office. Moving to DART, which is the Division of Addiction Research and Treatment under Dr. Eric Weintraub. And I thought I saw Eric walk in. Eric, you here? Oh, there you are. There you are, Eric. Thank you. So very prolific and active division. I think you are probably the fastest growing division. Maybe, I don't know, you and Child might be in competition here. No, I'm not pitting you guys against each other. It's just hard to know who's, we have so many stars. Very prolific. There's their numbers, 10 faculty. And what's interesting is really interacting with a lot of organizations to do presentations. Accomplishments, one of the biggest ones is Rob White here? Maybe he might be online. Oh, Chris, you're here. That's right. So we all work together. I was behind the scenes. I did nothing except sign the contract. That's all I did. They renewed the state gambling contract. So for 6 years for $30 million. So $31 million. So there's $2 million a year. And what was really nice this year is the state decided not to split it between Epi and Psych, but to give it all to Psych, and then Psych decides how it got distributed. So I thought that was a real feather in our cap, and Chris did a great job of representing that. Also, Eric and his team are now in 6 county jails. The HARP program continues to do really, really well and do what it's supposed to do. So they've added OB, which is like another feather in the HARP cap. And they've demonstrated that the HARP clinic demonstrates 40% reduction in acute care utilization. So this program is primary care in the addiction treatment center to reduce the use of the emergency room and unnecessary admissions. And it's just a powerhouse. Eric, you guys have done really, really well. Is Aaron here? I don't know. He's not here. Okay. Second mobile treatment purchased, collaborating with the Department of Medicine, and also collaborating on a NIDA R01 grant with the Department of Medicine. So great work. Administrative goals are to develop their strategic plan, improve divisional administrative support, and to expand opioid treatment. And research goals are really looking at clinical research infrastructure and shared hiring with the KLART Institute of a clinical human subject research. I know there's questions about KLART. I can answer that at the end. Well, KLART's an institute that belongs in the dean's office, not in the Department of Psychiatry, although I know people have asked about that. But we have 3 co-directors. Dr. Aaron Weintraub is the director of clinical research, Dr. Sarah Catacuzzi for translational research, and Dr. Asaf Keller, who is the chair of neurobiology for basic science. So it really is a joint effort, and there will be joint hiring into that institute. And I think they're really still defining what they're going to look like and how they're going to move forward. And then faculty goals would be mentoring faculty and hiring more faculty. I might add to the comment here about developing a strategic plan. I expect every division around your research projects to develop your own strategic plan, hopefully collaborating or in line with what the whole department's focus, but it's not going to be up to me to tell you what you should study. You guys are the experts on that. So I want to preserve the autonomy of the divisions to be able to focus on subject matter that is contributing to clinical care and education of future doctors and enhancing treatment options. So I'm not developing a strategic plan for everyone's research. Just want you guys to know that. Geriatric and acute adult under the leadership of Chris Morano. And Chris is here. Where'd you sit down, Chris? There you are, Chris. Sorry, I can't. So Chris is here. 6, what did we say? 6 faculty? 6 faculty. With 3 new recruits. I think the highlight here is that this team, we have worked tirelessly over the past year in designing and standing up the ADEPT program, which is Advanced Depression Treatment Program. It will offer novel treatments. It'll be a consultative model. I'll say more about that in a little bit. But Dr. Seshu Dodi, who's also here, has spearheaded the TMS. We've got our TMS delivered. It's all assembled. We've all been trained and we're ready to roll. Okay, goals there are really to stand up a geriatric fellowship, again, an active TMS esketamine service, and to develop a research plan around that along with Todd's group. So there'll be joint work on that, looking at improved evidence-based geriatric services and also blood and imaging biomarkers for geriatric mood, psychotic, and cognitive disorders. PES is part of this division as well. It has many faculty because there's a lot of faculty that do a shift here and there. It's hard to say how many faculty. Sarah, where are you? I know I saw you. There you are, Sarah. Yeah, so I don't know if you ever tried to count up your faculty, but it's kind of hard. What, 7? Is that what you got? 7. Okay, great. Sarah was hired this year, July 1, as the new medical director. I have to say, Sarah has hit the ground running. I was at a prep meeting this morning at 8 o'clock for the Joint Commission survey that's upon us at any moment. And I sit down at the table and somebody said to me, who's that new director of PES? And they had nothing but glowing remarks to make about you, Sarah. So you've done a great job in as little as 2 months. She's expanding coverage, really focusing on maximizing billing, which we'll talk more about, and patient flow and quality of care. So doing a great job down there. Community engagement. Again, I don't know if you've just done this in 2 months, Sarah, you were doing this beforehand, but has done amazing work. Pulling together crosstown colleagues, talking about emergency care in the city and state of Maryland, coordinating quality initiatives, warm handoffs, and referral processes. And also, Sarah wanted to call out Dr. Chris Miller and Catherine Harrison-Mistelli for being outstanding teachers in PES. And our goals are, again, beautification of PES. That means tearing it all down and building another one. However, Sarah has not learned yet that this place moves a little slower than she does. So we're gonna have to put the reins on her. It'll happen. Standardizing medical clearance and establishing a comprehensive quality program. So anybody interested in emergency psychiatry, this is the place to go. Child and adolescent. There's their numbers, 25 faculty. Dr. Goodwin received her Early Career Investigator Award. Timothy Veason and Joanna Prout are co-PIs on a grant with BHA. The community work that this division does is also amazing. I've actually participated in the Share Baby stuff at one point. I was just amazed at the group of people that were like just pitching in and volunteering. But as you can see, there's a whole list of community activities. And what's interesting is in the goals that Dr. Edwards, this division is under the leadership of Sarah Edwards, who's here. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss that. One of our goals is to increase the number of new patients by 10%, which is in line with everything we're going to do this year, but increase 80% of her faculty and staff participate in at least one community event, which is great, a great goal. Connecting with our community is absolutely essential to our success. And then leveraging our National Center for School Mental Health, which we have right here under Sharon Hoover, to assist in a blueprint for Maryland's future. And their focus is on psychopharmacology of pediatric agitation and delirium. And it's very interesting, clinical pathway for pediatric eating disorder management. Okay, this is to, this highlights this division and Dr. Edwards and Escuro's determination to provide the best care possible. I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, that this kind of stems from, there was a young patient that needed hospitalized. No one in the tri-state area would take this patient. We don't do eating disorders here, but Sarah took this patient. Sarah, how long was that patient in the hospital? 2 months?
3 months.
3 months after spending 9 months, a year, whatever, in other places, and the teenager was discharged. I won't ask you about the follow-up. I don't want to, but I mean, it's good. It's good. It's good. I mean, they do amazing work, and this is not work they normally do, but the team pitched together, figured out how to best provide for this child, and they did amazing, and the parents were like blown away. In ambulatory, looking at early childhood attachment, healthy steps, postpartum depression, healthy steps on postpartum depression, transition program from inpatient to outpatient and next day appointments. Again, all in line with what we're going to be doing. Community, 7 faculty, there's their publications. They've been working with GBRICS, which is a tri-county initiative to respond to emergency psychiatric crisis. And so Anne has been very, Dr. Hackman, Anne, where are you under your leadership? There you are over there. Thank you, Anne. Has been deeply involved in this. Again, the idea of helping provide, helping people move out of EDs or avoid EDs altogether. And her team has also been working on the RIC initiative, which is Research in Clinical Care, which is creating partnerships and infrastructure for research to be conducted in our clinical programs, which is not a culture that we have historically had. Great work. CL, 6 faculty, there's their productivity, highlights. Again, I think for the third year in a row, 4th year in a row, we've had 2 fellows, and the program is just getting stronger and stronger. This year they have too many applicants. So I remember the day where we didn't have any applicants, so it's great. You've done a great job, you guys. Shock trauma ICI, which is integrated care, has just to some degree calmed shock trauma down, and you guys have done a great job there. And developing evidence-based protocols for behavioral management. Their goals to expand specialty outpatient services, transplant, cancer, shock trauma, and also to coordinate with other divisions looking at our documentation, particularly for trainees, but I think the attendings could benefit from it as well. And the Midtown campus, 7 faculty, they very quickly got back to pre-pandemic inpatient volume. Amazing. So what does that do? It increases our revenue. So this team they have very high acuity, and their length of stay is reasonable. They do a great job. They work very hard, and under the leadership of Stephanie Knight, who's sitting right here. Dr. Alden Littlewood was appointed the medical director for the partial hospitalization program, our day hospital, and their psych ED. They don't have a separate entity place like our PES, but they have a separate service, sort of. Their goal is to expand ECT, boost day hospital enrollment, and standardize inpatient acuity tools across both campuses, which I think is a great strategy. And then our faculty practice under Chris Miller, started to develop a strategy to enhance provider satisfaction, created a PGY4 elective in our faculty practice. This isn't the therapy piece. This is actually working side by side with faculty. And Chris isn't here, is he? Dr. Miller? Oh, you're sitting right in front of me. So I can just, is Dr. Mancini here? Yeah, so I was on call with Mancini at Midtown about 3 weeks ago, and we were talking about the elective, and he said it's going really, really well. We only started it July 1. So it's going really well, and it's a great opportunity for residents, and it enhances our faculty satisfaction because they get to teach while they're seeing patients as well. And we hired a new doctor, Dr. Pat Widra, who I did not see her come into the room. What was that? She's out of town. Oh, she's out of town. She's still away. That's right. Practice goals. So we're in the process actually recruiting a physician's assistant who will be on board to help the providers and facilitate a lot of what's going on in the PA. We're going to expand the scope of the PA, and I'll talk more about that. We're going to expand opportunities for residents. We're going to provide reporting on revenue collections that's going to feed the incentives in that program for the faculty seeing patients. And we're going to redesign, we started to redesign the management of the whole practice. So let me just move quickly to, we had like 4 major goals with many, many initiatives, much work, but at the end of last year, I said, or last year's presentation, we wanted to do these 4 things. So the Advanced Depression Treatment Center, ADEPT, I've already mentioned. It's ready to go. And Dr. Doty asked me to let everyone know we're looking for 1, 2, 3 patients from our own programs that would be eligible for TMS to sort of get the treatment patient flow process down. We've been trained, we've got our TMS machine. We wanted to kind of start with a few patients really well known to us to get that going. So if you have anyone that you think would be appropriate for TMS, please call call SESU or the geriatric program. This is going to be, it's not just geriatric, but it's interventional modalities, and we're gonna couch it on the first floor 701 in the geriatric and acute care division. Women's Family Center, we work tirelessly on this. We met twice a month with the foundation, addiction, child and adolescent, going into the community, doing focus groups. And what we realized is we had to back up, and we're going to go for a different model. We're going to go for a collaborative care model and go where women are already being seen. So it's going to be in high risk OB. It's going to be in family medicine that does OB. Now, this does not eliminate our active practice right now, where we can take referrals into the PA, or we could also take referrals into Fayette Clinic. Our second floor residents, supervised by Nicole Lesticow, still takes these referrals. So we have that, and we're going to kind of shift a little bit. The addiction translational research, that was one of my focuses. We had hired Majed, who does cocaine research. In 2 words, I just summarized everything you do, which doesn't even touch what he does. But with the KLART standing up, in sort of talking to Eric, we weren't ready to go further with that. And so we're just sort of a little bit in a holding pattern role that wouldn't prevent us from hiring someone. But how that's going to interface with the COLORT Institute is it's not clear yet. And then the MPRC, I said last year we were going to hire an MPRC director. The whole leadership at MPRC took a look and said, wait a minute, we got to back up. There's other things we need to do before we're ready to hire a new director. And I thought they were right on with that. And so again, Dee has done amazing things with upgrading IT, reorganizing, looking at budgets, looking at how people work together. I mentioned earlier that Dr. Elliot Hong and Peter Kochinoff moved to Texas. So our first line of order is going to be a neuroimaging director. So those 2 things we didn't quite reach our goals, but that was okay. We redirected. So we will be doing follow-up on these initiatives. So ADEPT, I've already talked quite a bit about. It's a comprehensive evaluation consultative model. If you refer someone for TMS, they will get a comprehensive review by the team. They will be recommended for either outpatient ECT, TMS, esketamine, the esketamine clinic, or a complex psychopharmacologic approach. And then they would be sent back to their care provider. So we're not keeping all these patients in this clinic, or we'd fill up and not be able to take anybody new. It's a consultative model. We will provide the treatment and then send them back to whence they came. So if you refer someone, they're still your patient. We've got marketing teed up. We've developed pamphlets and flyers. We're hiring a clinical investigator and a director, and we'll probably go live with the esketamine when Gustavo Moderis joins us in October. Good news, his visa has gone through, but it's a process, so he's joining us in October. MPRC, I've already talked about it. We're sort of, I call it the MPRC refresh. We're sort of replacing, hiring new positions and realigning. There's also a lot of negotiation between UMB, the School of Medicine, and UMBC. And lots of interest on UMBC's part to partner with MPRC. So we will see where that goes. And then mental health, I already talked about it. We're going to go to a collaborative model plus what we already have. So where are we going in 24? Well, in order to think about that, it's important as a department to understand well, where's the school going? And where's FPI going, which is the clinical arm of the School of Medicine? And where's the hospital going? And because we need to be in line, and we always are, but I realized that I don't communicate that maybe very clearly. So what I thought I would do very quickly, for fun, I put the 3 mission statements. This is the key parts of the mission statement of each one. And take a look at this. So the School of Medicine, dedicated to providing excellence in biomedical education, research, patient care, and service to improve the health of the citizens in Maryland. FPI, to be integrated and unified multi-specialty clinical enterprise of excellence, serving our community members and in line with UMMC, UMMS. And so that is the School of Medicine's clinical component in line with the hospital. That's what that means. And the Department of Psychiatry, if you go to our website, our first line is the Department of Psychiatry has a tripartite mission of clinical education and research agendas, serving our surrounding community in the state of Maryland and providing expertise at a national and international level. So if anybody has any doubts of whether or not we are strategically in line with our organizations to which we are attached, let that be cleared up. But then you might ask, well, what are the goals for these entities for FY24? I don't know how many people here went to the State of the School of Medicine yesterday. That's nice. There's about 20% here that went. It was an amazing presentation for Dr. Gladwin. He is full of energy. He did, I thought, a great job. And if I could be so bold as to highlight a lot of what he focused on, they really super involved in the Institute of Health Computing, which is a joint project between UMB, College Park, and Montgomery County. And it is a huge enterprise that looks at AI and big data. And wait a minute, the other partner is UMMS, because they have dumped over 2 million patient records into the database. And so this is all going to be available for any one of us. For research purposes, but also for looking at effectiveness of treatment and care. There's lots of questions you can ask of the big data. And I think that we could call on our experts here in our department in big data to help us think about how can we best use that. Gloria Reeves, Dr. Reeves, had a meeting with Brad, what was his last name? Murrows? Yeah, yesterday. He came to the the School of Medicine Executive Committee yesterday too and talked. Really impressive guy. And Gloria has invited him to a steering committee of the research divisions to talk about sort of their operations and possibilities and partnerships. So, and Gloria is advocating for a mental health arm. So that's great. They want to facilitate collaborations between schools and campuses. So, I've been talking about collaboration since I stepped into this role. Clinically, the dean wants to enhance access to care. His term is no leakage. So we should not be sending patients to other entities. We should be providing the care ourselves. He wants us to grow revenue and be the go-to provider of Maryland. Why? Well, I'll talk more about why. But I mean, because if we are the go-to, then that supports our education and research missions. I belong to a national fellowship group called Executive Leadership in Academic Medicine, and across the nation, 62% of funding for research and education comes from clinical revenue. Interesting. So if we want to grow, we got to grow our clinical revenue. Enhance educational opportunities. I've talked to you guys about this before. He suggests more T32 programs. We have a T32 program headed by Greg Elmer. You have two co-leaders there, Greg, or are you doing it by yourself? Dee and Will. Okay, great. So we've had a T32 program for how long?
This is
Year 18. And how many recipients do we have right now?
annually
3
3 fellows.
fellows, okay. So we have one. It's a lot of work, but he'd like us to have more. And then the dean is really focused on website upgrades, and I'll come back to this for our department. But he said he was very clear, departments will be responsible for maintaining their own up-to-date content, videos, pictures, everything. He gave an example. They're recruiting for a new cancer center director. He got some good applicants. And how many of them said to him, you know, we went to the School of Medicine's website and it's outdated, broken links, old information. That's unacceptable. And I have to tell you, when we started updating our website 4 years ago, we started getting more hits. We started getting more applicants for jobs. That's where people go when they want to know something about you before applying. They'll go to your website. So that's one of his focuses. I threw this slide in here. Those of you who went to the State of the School address saw this slide, but it's really fascinating. This is FPI now, the clinical arm of the School of Medicine. There's 40 medical specialties, 1.6 million patients served. 50% of the state's physicians are graduates of the School of Medicine here. 90 locations, and we provide all the care for University Medical Center. So think about it. Where's the Department of Psychiatry in this? Where's the Department of Psychiatry in this? The division, the two divisions that really do this well are addictions, because they've got rural Suboxone going across the state, and the child division, school mental health, doing amazing things across the state. But like our own PA, we've worked to keep very, very small, and we're going to have to change that. So MPI just set up a University of Maryland faculty practice enterprise, which gives you the ability to do things a little different and not be so strapped by School of Medicine regulations. I'll dive more into that and see what our opportunities are. But of these 5 things that they already have, I never even heard of executive health through the FPI. And I'm like, what is this? Well, whatever it is, mental health should be a component of it. And then they have telemedicine. The dean has said to me 20 times, Jill, what do you think about doing telehealth? And I'm like, we've only been doing it for like, 15, 20 years. Anyway, we already fit into this, but we need to fit more into this. Okay, and then this is their slide of what is their goals, to focus on supporting a tripartite mission. I won't spend any more time on this, but this is FEPI. It says infrastructure for us, because now we have one large group practice. Every department doesn't have their own PA practice. We're now one large practice with president, a governing body, and a lot of support. And so I think we need to take advantage of that. So what are our goals? We're going to fall into clinical education, research, and then some overall goals. I'll talk more about the clinical. We're going to grow our clinical revenue. We've already started to do that so that we can support the growth of our department. We're going to, in education, you heard about the geriatric fellowship. That's certainly one goal, and another goal is enhancing resident exposure to research training. Gloria Reeves put in an R25. We'll know by the end of the month if we get funded on that. She was working with Dr. Ehrenreich in education to try to enhance that. So those are 2 big goals for education. For under research and academic, we're going to build our depression program. We're going to support MPBRC refresh. And then we're going to, every division needs to have focused projects. And again, it's up to the divisions to define those projects. And then across the department, understand how they can be supported. And then overall, we're going to have a robust response to our score survey, and we're going to update our website and all landing pages. So when I say update, so our new our communication coordinator, Will Dahl, is here. Will, and he's in charge of facilitating updated websites. And I asked him, every month he assigns himself a division, and he notifies the division of the month ahead of time to say, I'm coming to you in October. I don't know if you've done this yet, but okay. And when he gets to you, you should have someone that you've identified. If it's not, somebody identified who's going to be the content expert for the division. We're going to be looking at pictures, videos, and content on every landing page website in the department. If it's not refreshed, if it's not up to date, it doesn't look good for us. So we started it 4 years ago. We're doing it again. We got to keep it fresh. We got to keep it going. So clinically, how are we going to do what I said, increase revenue? So why do we increase revenue? Well, first of all, it supports our missions. Secondly, we can use additional money to incentivize the physicians that are generating the extra money. So if we need to, we've got to have an incentive plan, which we're putting together. And also it provides School of Medicine, FPI, and department resources. So those are the whys. The hows, first we're looking at existing programs and saying, what are we doing that we're not getting paid for that we should be getting paid for? We do a lot in academic medicine that we don't get paid for, that, and we shouldn't. That's just part of being in academic medicine. There's a lot of care that we provide that we're not getting paid for. So where is that and how do we bill for it? That's the question. So, I mean, I started just talking to myself like I kind of do kind of often, like in CL, I've already talked to the CL team and I've talked to Chuck Robinson. We don't bill for follow-ups because we have such a massive hospital to cover and limited faculty, but can we get some of that? And how do we do it? And so they're thinking about it. PES, same way. How can we maximize? Now PES has restrictions. Some insurances only pay for one visit and that's it. Others, it's every 24 hours. We got to sort it out. Community, we don't do any prophy billing in our community programs. Those are our biggest ambulatory programs. There's a good reason for that. We've benefited from it financially up until now. It's now time to change course. I'm meeting with back-end billing and finance and our billing team to get that changed over. So that's new money in existing programs. And then new programs like TMS, ADEPT, and we have a big opportunity with Whiting Turner, big construction company. Their employees are the architects and engineers. And the owner of Whiting Turner came to me and said, I want mental health for my employees. Now he's nationwide. And the dean wants me to go nationwide. So I'm looking for volunteers. But we're going to do Maryland first, and we're going to see how this goes. So when are we going to do this? Immediately. We already started working on it. The second goal is to redesign our practice. I've already mentioned a little bit. Improve faculty engagement and satisfaction, make it more satisfying to work in the PA, and to expand access to our services and our expertise. Yesterday alone, I had 2 chairs approach me saying, I have a son, another, a patient desperately needing mental health care. How can they get it? And we have historically said, you know, maybe we can do it, maybe we can't. Our answer should always be yes, but how do we do that? And so we gotta do that better. How we're gonna maximize existing billing. So I got a consult from a very successful, they came in, met with us and talked about how they billed to stay afloat. It was very interesting. We learned about combination billing for faculty in the PA. I just started doing it myself, seeing PA patients in June. And our billing manager said to me, Jill, I'm collecting $90 to $100 a service more than I collected before with this new billing. It's legit. It's approved by CMS and Medicaid and private insurers. And we haven't been doing it. So this is an example of where can we increase our billing. We're going to hire that physician's assistant who's going to help. We're going to fully implement the PGY4 elective, which also helps because we can increase volume. And we're going to revamp our management structure. I'm in the process of thinking about that now. And then the SCORE survey, I'm almost done. The SCORE survey, well, what is the SCORE survey? It was a survey that everyone took. And what were the results of it? Across the board, faculty and all staff in all of our clinical programs reported dissatisfaction with decision-making that didn't include their input. Now, I'm not just talking about the chair's office. We're talking about every level of staff and every level of decision. If you're in a program and some decision is made to change something, but there's not input from the people that change is going to impact, there's no, asking what do they think would help, or what do you think the impact, that creates a lot of dissatisfaction. People feel overlooked, unappreciated, and then burned out. So we're going to start leadership rounding. We've done a lot of work on this. We've done a lot of investigation on this, and we've already started it on the inpatient services, and we're getting great results from it. So what does leadership rounding do? It builds trust, supports voice, creates shared problem solving, and enhances retention. And we want to hang on to our good people. So we're going to start leadership rounding. It's coming to ambulatory soon in every program. And the leaders that round are the people in that program on the round, but with a few others with them. There's a whole format to it. We're also going to be implementing restorative justice, implementing a restorative justice initiative. We had that very first picture was 5 of us that went for training. Fantastic intervention, if you will. It builds relationships, partnerships, and resolves conflicts without blame. So it's an amazing intervention, and we were all kind of blown away. We spent 3 days in DC under this training, and so we're going to be implementing that, and that again supports our DEI of belonging. So it's all intertwined. And the last slide I have for you is simply my commitment, financial commitment funding for our programs. So just in a nutshell, you can see that the 5-year commitment here is $12.7 million. Since I took the chair position, it has been $14 million. It's not all spent. This is committed out for positions and programs. So with that, I'm going to stop. We have like 20 minutes left. I just threw a lot of information at you. I ask you to think about it, think about the ideas you might have about our goals, our plan, our strategic planning. I'm interested in anything that you might bring to the table. The other thing I wanted to say is we started just last week. We're meeting with the clinical division directors and the research division directors quarterly together. And we did that for the first time last week. And those of you in the room that were there, I thought it was a great meeting. We're putting our heads together. How can we work together? How can we be more successful? How can we help each other? What do we need from each other? How can we work together? But it was great. So that's, there's a lot of things going on that I could talk about until the cows come home. So I'd ask you to think about it. Send me your ideas via email or and we do have a faculty meeting in November where we can really kind of debrief after all this information. I'd be really interested in anybody's ideas and thoughts. So I will stop. Is there anybody have any questions that you want to ask? I'm looking at the chat. Oh, Sharon is a media rock star. Yes, she is. Yes, Sam.
Where are the TMS and the Academy programs physically located?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, you need to know where they are. Okay.
Jill, repeat the question.
Yeah, I will repeat the question. So the question was, where does the esketamine and TMS programs live? All right, this is interesting. So the whole depression treatment program, the ADEPT program, is located on the first floor, 701. What we did was we flip-flopped, for those of you that know the 701 building, Oates to the other side, because it's shrunk way down and doesn't need as much space, and put the Gero Clinic and the ADEPT program on the other side. Lots of space. We recarpeted, painted, refurnished, and that's where the evaluation is going to happen. That's where the esketamine will happen. But where do you put the TMS? So I looked at the billing. This is why there's always work going on. So we could get paid about $23 a treatment for the physician service if we were in rate-regulated space, which is the first floor of 701. If we put the TMS machine up on the 4th floor in our PA unregulated space, we could get about $250. Now, where would you put the TMS machine? Much to the dismay of Dr. Edwards, the TMS machine is up on the 4th floor because it makes financial sense, right? So we took a room, we soundproofed it, roof, floor, ceiling, floor, all the walls, carpeting. We tested it. Nobody can hear it so far. So we'll see how it goes. So, but for the referral, it goes right to the program. And then if someone is evaluated and appropriate for TMS, we will handle that flow upstairs. Mark.
I just want to make a comment, and you probably know this, but it was bizarre to me yesterday at the schools presentation about website improvement, show a picture of the training program. Where are our training programs? Well, the training programs exist on the UMMC website, not on the school website. And we have to work to coordinate those.
So those are the residency training programs. When he talked, so the comment for those of you online was about at the School of Medicine address, they talked about the website and the education programs. There's a whole lot more that's really on the school side, all the graduate level, postdoctoral programs, the research fellowship, all of that's on the school side. But at the earlier meeting that I was at, this issue came up and we link it to the hospital side. So we still have a landing page for training on our website, and then it links. But we've got to check all the links because some of them are broken. Other questions that somebody you might have? Ideas? So one last apology. I thought when we set this meeting up that you could eat your lunch in here. That's what I was told. Only to get here and see no food or drink on the door, and I really apologize for that. We will not be meeting ever in this room again. We will try to get a room. Really, I like the round tables where you can sit and eat and talk and all that stuff. This was the only place we could get, so I apologize for that. Everyone at home, or everybody not at home, wherever you are, remotely, with your feet up on your desk, they're probably eating lunch and we're sitting here holding boxed lunches. So I apologize for that. So thank you, everyone, both those that you logged in remotely and those of you that are here in person.